Hi, everybody. Still not in a position where I'm able to do this live, so that kind of sucks. But as far as the rest of it, we're going to go ahead and get to discussing the Boston College, the win over Boston College. And as always, this is the Unconquered Podcast Patreon film breakdown. Take a look at some of the things that Florida State was able to do to win this game. So for starters, you'll notice that Florida State was in a more traditional four down, not just four men on the line of scrimmage, but in a one technique, three technique look with three backers than they were most of the season. This is suggestive of some changes in terms of preference defensively with what the staff wanted to do. And again, lets you know a little bit of where certain things were coming from. Although they did, they used plenty of tight later in the game, but they did come out and do this a little bit more than they had previously. Now, this is part of what makes playing against Boston College such a pain in the butt. Is they're going to start by putting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys. I should have been able to count that. 9 guys on the line of scrimmage here, and running basically just a I don't know, I guess this might be duo. What is this? Yeah, this is a version of duo, I guess, where they're forcing you to match up and figure out where your gaps are. They actually, though, had a bust here. One of these guys here, either he or he need to be blocking him, and the backer does a great job of triggering. That's Amari Gaynor. Notice that he reads his keys and comes downhill right away. He's just got to make the tackle there. And that's where getting into a legitimate strength conditioning program for next year is going to be really important for this team. And for Gaynor in particular, he's a guy that needs to put on some weight to really be as effective and efficient in that system. And for what it's worth, now that things are going to change, I can say a little bit more about my thoughts on that regard. My view is that a lot of what they did conditioning-wise this last year was too CrossFit-ish in terms of reducing, they were so focused on amping up the tempo since Taggart got on campus that basically it was about getting into shape so that you could go with as little time between plays as possible and all of that. That's the emphasis. But basically what they're doing is minimizing rest periods between sets and all of that. And that is not how you get most explosive. Anybody out there who has a good amount of training in terms of physical, in terms of strength and conditioning theory and all of that, is going to tell you that if you want to get explosive, if you want to get big, strong, and fast, you actually have to have longer rest periods at a certain point. And if you want to get faster, in particular, you have to take longer rest periods. If you look at Olympic sprinters, a guy like Usain Bolt, a sprint workout for him, he's going to run all out in 100 meters or 200 meters. And let's say he does 100 meters and he's going to run that in 10 seconds, say. And then he's going to take 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes between each one. So sprint it, and then basically just keep your body a little bit warm over the next 10 minutes. So you do a few little exercises or just little stuff to keep loose. And then 10 minutes later, you do another sprint, because you're not going to get faster unless you maximize the amount of rest in between. So this is something that a guy like Jeff Brom at Purdue is doing with his skill guys already. Guys who run track, he's got them on track conditioning all season. Even in practice, they're working on a little bit different schedule in terms of how they're training those guys to get faster. Florida State's guys, on the other hand, got trained to basically be able to do things with minimal rest, but didn't get faster necessarily. And there's a place for both of them. You do need to be able to train a little bit of both. I mean, mat drills, which I'm a firm believer in what we did when I was there. Those were continuous, but at the same point, there also was time, like in the sprint portion of that, built in so that you were actually working full speed and were able to recover close to all of your stuff. And then we did true speed training during the summer. with longer rest periods and all of that. And I thought they did less of that in this. So let's go ahead and get back to the film. All right, so you got 3rd and 1 here. And this is actually pretty good up front. Without Marvin Wilson, they're just not as good at that spot to be able to handle not getting pushed around. And that's a pretty big difference. I mean, you look at the difference with Durden. He's just not against the run what Marvin Wilson is. Still a good player. And you can see here that penetration on this. Now, this is just zone boot, zone pass. And you can see at this point they've been running the football with some success. And you can see the flow of the linebackers. And then whoops, right here. As soon as you see that, you know that's probably going to be a completion to the guy that he would be covering. And who's he going to be covering? He's going to be covering the number 3. Actually, let's see. He's going to be covering the number 2 over here, which is going to be the tight end or the H-back. So, yeah, the tight end's got the vertical. So he's going to be responsible for this. Safety stepping up as well. Hamsa's beat here because he's getting nosy. Looks to me like the corner here. This is Stanford Samuels. The corner keeps this from being a big play downfield. Nice job by Stanford Samuels here getting downfield. Taking away the bigger play. So interesting to see the coverage look here. This looks initially like it's going to be a cover 2, but they're in single coverage up here. They're trusting Stanford Samuels a lot in this look, trying to get they're rotating over. This is true solo coverage where they're just man-to-man here and they're working. Everything else is on this side of the field. That's the Dion coverage, basically. Man to the top and then everybody else is to the bottom. But this is where you can kind of get hit in solo is everybody's on this side of the hash except for these 3 players, and you've got 1, 2, 3 to deal with them, and then you've got the quarterback that can leak out. There's really nobody left. This is good recognition by Boston College. What you want to have is this backer over just bumped out and bumped over just a little bit in order to be able to cover this better. So good design by Boston College. Again, there's just nobody over here. And the other thing is, well, you want to have a backer that can respond and run that's not slower than the quarterback, and that kind of hurts having Brooks there. And I'm honestly not sure why he's playing as much as he is. At this stage of the season, you're better off playing some of the younger guys, even if they're going to make mistakes. Though, again, you're trying to win this game to go to a bowl. So, I mean, what he brings to the table is that he generally knows where he's supposed to be and tries to get there. The problem is he's just not talented enough to really do much once he does. And, here he gets engulfed again. This is not good from either of the backers. Amari Gaynor gets washed badly here. See that right there, and that opens that up. And you've got to see the corner. Well, the corner's got the quarterback here, so he can't go early. Yeah, this is pretty good from the rest, but you can't get washed. Gaynor has to hold his edge here just a little bit better, and it looks to me like the other problem is right there. That backer is in the wrong spot. He's got to get to the hole. This is after I don't know why the compressed game would leave out the missed fumble recovery, but we'll go ahead and address that since they don't. But that's yet another example of how Florida State's defense finds a way to self-sabotage by not just being able to recover a simple fumble. And instead, here you have a busted coverage on the next play. And what's going on here is you have a mix-up. Something gets signaled, and they're not sure who's doing what. One of these guys has to be responsible for the slot here when you have the blitz right there. When you've got that blitz, one of these guys, and I'm not sure which it is, has to actually get over the top there My guess is that this is on the free safety, that he's got to work his way over. And that's just super easy for Boston College and just stupid. Bolden's got some really good speed here. I mean, you can see why he was as highly thought of as he was coming out. He, 10-7 in the 100 meters is pretty good. And now we get to see Kendall Briles' offense without interference, starting with a nice little screen pass there. Blackman looked so much more comfortable in this game, partly because he was playing against a bad defense. But go ahead and go through here. Nice 3rd and 7 conversion. DJ Matthews had a solid game. And this is really good from Terry. This is actually, what's interesting is that this is actually one of Jimbo Fisher's favorite concepts here. You just have a compressed formation. You saw this a lot against Clemson because this gave Venables some problems with what they do. It screws with your match principles. But basically, you release these guys together and you go curl flat, and you're going to get somebody here open. If he expands, and then you're going to get some space with this option route as he turns outside. And if he doesn't expand, then you have a flat route that basically you're going to force this guy to play up. And then if he plays up, then the next thing you do is hit a smash out of this where it's behind the corner. So this is a really simple, really elegant concept. But this is really difficult to defend as a defense because, like I said, it screws with your match principles because they can expand so rapidly from that spot. But this, like I said, this is a Jimbo Fisher concept that Briles is pulling in here. It's one of Fisher's favorites, one of his go-tos when his quarterbacks aren't really reading the field well. I thought he got in there. I got a question about this one on Patreon here. Now this is just mesh. So what the design of this play is, you have a flat route, and then here you should have this is a little option route to the edge here. They've got everything bottled up, and then what makes this mesh is you have two shallows here that are coming this direction. And if it's man, then you're supposed to run through it. If it's zone, then you're supposed to sit at some point. Now, I was asked whether or not this was a good throw by Blackman and Neighbors should have backed up, or whether this is, just a bad throw. And I'll take a little from column A and a little from column B. Neighbors should have, once you see Neighbors signaling, throw it up, he puts his hand up. But he's got to recognize there's somebody between him and the quarterback. Throw it up and then start getting your depth to make this easy on the quarterback. And Blackman just throws this little jump pass and then throws it too far. So it's a combination of both. This really should have scored had either guy really improvised well. So that should have been a touchdown down there. But Florida State going to find a way to keep games closer than they should be. This is a game that they really dominated in a lot of ways, but found a way to keep it close. And here's one of the other ways that they kept it close. Not terrible from the kicker there. Got to bring your arms to the party, but not the worst. Once again, this is BC lining up 9 guys on the line of scrimmage. And this is just really hard to recognize who's got what gap. So what you try to do up front is you try to simplify and let your guys know where they're at. Make sure that they can just do some counting to figure out, okay, you're here, you're here. Now, this one is one where Odell's going to get on his nose tackle here for that. I remember when I was around that a nose tackle spinning against the running game was a no-no. And this is why, because you spin yourself out of holes. So big Robert Cooper has to hold there and then reestablish his position. Once he gets the combo there, reestablish your position here, instead of spinning and turning your back, which is what as soon as that back sees him spin and turn his back, he sees the crease. And what happens here is backer is not physical enough here. You got a near leg, near shoulder that instead of ducking down like that, he's on his back foot. You want to be on your front foot here when you make contact with your shoulder, because that's when you're going to get your leverage. So the combination of him spinning this way, where that gap is more covered here by the front side, spin that way, and then a poor fill by 56 there, and you wind up with a nice crease. Good coverage downfield here, even though we can't see it. Right up until there, and you know, if you give a guy that much time, you're eventually going to find something. And this is just bully ball from Boston College. And this is where you can see not having... This is Marvin Wilson's spot right here, and not having Marvin Wilson makes a big difference, and that's going to be hard for when a couple of these impact guys aren't around next year. It's not going to be easy to get the level of play where it needs to be for the next guy, that's for sure. It's good play by the freshman here. Nice fill, nice solid tackle. Helpful to have a big body there. Then you get the missed field goal. So you get a little bit of motion. They're bumping across. You now know what they're in coverage-wise, and you know that they aren't bringing any sort of pressure. You like your 6-man versus your 7-man up here. You need to be able to run the ball every time against this look. You know, this is the sort of thing that last year Notre Dame was able to stop Florida State doing. Well, here you've got your 5 against their 4. You've got an extra blocker, so 5 against 5, 6, 7, and then if you add a running quarterback, you've got really 8 against 6 in the box here. This is big time numbers for the offense here. You should be able to run the football, and they are able to. And this is encouraging here as you see the front side. Tackle wins. Freshman guard wins. You'll take that. And I've got word from the staff that they really feel like their young freshmen on the interior are going to be pretty good. Freshmen from last year's class. Akers got hit pretty hard there. Nice run, though. Already into the second quarter. This game, this compressed thing moving pretty quickly. This is pretty good, 3rd and 7 here, and this is just basic Briles stuff, running little in here and a stick on, or an in and out on the outside, and then a go and out on that side, and then this is just a guy being an athlete. Nice route. What coverage are they in here? They're just in cover 3. This isn't my favorite read here because this is tough against that flat defender. It's a pretty good throw, though. Get away with it, and then again, that's being an athlete. Where I'd like to see that go. As soon as you see that, well, actually, you know what? I think you made the right call. Yep, based on this concept, that's the right place. Yep, good job by Blackman. So this is where, again, BC physical team, and you got to be able to move guys on 3rd and 1, especially when you've got numbers. And this is where having you notice who's behind center here. The defense is not fooled. You see, he's here. It's going to Akers. This is where the old school. If you've got a legit center that can snap it a little bit. Doing the old school Warwick Dunn direct snap is a little better, but they don't have a guy like that. It's, go back to those, and the center was really good, and Dunn also had such good hands that you could do that. Defense playing hard. First time in a while you see this level of gang tackling. And you'll notice really, you didn't see a whole lot of extra bodies up front in this game. You didn't see the young defensive tackles all that much more. You just saw a lot more Briggs, which tells you, a guy like Malcolm Lamar really needs to be thinking about being an offensive tackle, and the next staff needs to move him. So this is vintage Bryles. This is stuff he loves to do. Notice the blocking downfield. This is a screen pass on a shallow cross screen, and good job by Terry getting back behind the line of scrimmage here. If he catches this ball behind the line of scrimmage, you can block all you want. There's no pick, there's no nothing. So force them upfield, and then you're able to get some blocking here, and that's making one guy miss, and then you're off and running. This is really good from Bryles. Nice job by Terry being an athlete as well. They found a lot of ways to get him the football in this game that they really hadn't used so far this year, and that I don't know, that's pretty telling. So you do have the young nose tackle here. This is True Thompson. Not terrible there. I mean, he gets turned a little bit, but where this loses is right here. They've got a little stunt there, and he runs around it to get to his gap, and then you've got to have a backer that's filling. You got a backer that's responsible for two gaps. Somebody's out of their gap here. And again, this is where when you've got 9 guys up front, it's really easy for this to happen. Somebody got out of their gap. It suggests to me that the backer here should be flowing much more. He's wrong shouldering that and ends up with that. But this is the stuff Adazio forces against you. I mean, this is it's not what most people would call sexy football, but those who really like physical football, this is pretty sexy stuff. Once again, just everybody on the line of scrimmage all the way down, and you're going to have to figure out who's going to fit what gaps. And once again, you've got on Durden's side here, he's outside the tackle. So he winds up in the, let's see, the A, B, C. He winds up in the D gap. I think he's got to be in the C, and then he's got to be in the B. So I think he gets out just a little bit based on what I'm seeing here. So he should actually be in here, and then he should be in here, and that closes that down. But Durden gets a little bit too far outside and gets turned. Backer comes a little bit too far inside, hits with wrong shoulder. Who's that backer? It's the freshman. I think that's wrong shoulder for the backer is my guess. Let's see. No, backer has to have the inside here. So there's somebody else that's got to fill this gap. Whether Hamza here, they're gapped just by alignment here. Somebody's wrong because the alignment here is wrong. You got no shot to win that if you're that far out of your gap. This is just an RPO here. You can see at the top working here. And again, you're just reading box. You have 6 in the box against your 6, really. And with him coming into the box, you just let Akers run away from it. That's pretty good. And you can see Akers is not healthy right now. This is a dime. That's a great throw. Really the first true deep ball he's hit in a while, and hopefully that, spurs him to better success, say, against Florida, because this is still something you can do against Florida, and this is an equalizer. When you got that guy and the ability to stretch him a little bit, that's good. That's good football. Nice job by Akers there. This play doesn't happen if you don't get that block. And not bad by the freshman getting all the way across. He knew that was good from the time it left his hand. That was like a three-point shooter starting to run back the other direction. Looks like they're better aligned here, forcing him to get further outside. Yeah, so you're getting a little bit more inside there. Nice job by Janarius. You just big back. It's hard to make the tackle there. Hard to get disengaged and make the tackle. 3rd and 8, and that's a pretty good throw right there. See our match here. It's pretty good from the backers, really. I mean, this is not bad. You want to get under that just a little quicker. Recognize what you're seeing here. There's no number 3 coming from this side, so you've got to get under that just a little bit more. Find your concept and get underneath it. But quarterback really stuck that in there quickly, and that's a dart. That's a good throw. And they immediately took the freshman out because he should have been underneath that. It's close. And they still hit 3rd and 8. This is similar to what Briles ran, you notice. This is another curl flat type concept, but they get the option route here downfield. A little too physical for the defensive back. Starting to get some stops against the run, and you notice this is leverage here. 2nd and 9, and then nice job on the blitz. Something that he does really well. Create a loss, and this sets things up so that they don't end up going into the half down more. And this is BC wasting one of their gadgets here. They're trying to score here. They think this is going to score, and this is really good by Stanford Samuels because this could have gone a long way. He does a great job of recognizing, getting double-teamed, disengaging, and getting up and keeping that from being a first down because this was really close. I mean, if he doesn't make this tackle, that's a first down, and if he doesn't make this tackle, the next guy is probably Hamza here. And that's at least down inside the 15 with, some time left. They've got 40-some seconds left. They probably score, they at least get a field goal there. And that prevents this from being at least a 17 to 10 game, but probably a 21 to 10 game if they get all the way down in there. Blackman has gotten a lot less credit for the stuff he's done here. Bad snap. And this is quick game, and he just finds a way to make it into something more than nothing. I mean, this could have been a 20-yard loss or 10-yard loss easily, and this is, he's gotten a lot less credit for what he's done in the pocket to keep things from being terrible plays all year than he deserves. So they're just trying to get the ball to Harrison here. And here they go with the same look, and they're trying to use, this is just smash. And this time they keep the safety back. And really what you want to see, the way I coach this, the way Jimbo Fisher coached it, turn this into an option route so that when you see that guy's sitting back, he should just turn and present his numbers to the quarterback. Quarterback can pull up, and then that's a first down. But that isn't really what they've got right now, and Blackman does a great job of getting a first down anyway on 3rd and 6. It's not hard to add that little option in there, train your slots to do it, but it takes some reps. And then you have the first carry, the first real snap from Jordan Travis, and you'll notice this is just the same RPO that Florida State has used a bunch, where you've got what they've done previously is to run this as an RPO, but getting him out on the edge. This is actually just looking at how he's blocking. He's blocking, so this is not an RPO. This is just a zone read. And all he has to do is he's reading this unblocked guy here. As soon as those shoulders get turned in that much, he's pulling that ball. He's got a lead blocker here. So what they've done all year is they've used that guy as a flat option and made this into an RPO since the quarterback can't run. But now you get the extra blocker essentially. And you got a quarterback that can actually move. And, well, you got to wonder why that guy was on the bench all year. Against Clemson or against some of these teams that you couldn't throw against, you got to wonder, why wouldn't you bring this guy in and at least just give him the opportunity to run these packages? Maybe you can't throw well enough to do anything downfield, but if you're not doing it downfield anyway, have that guy come on and do something. At least run a bunch of option and see if that stuff gives you a chance. Good play by the defense there. And again, here is an example where they are not respecting the quarterback run threat at all. He's coming straight downhill. Now, you're probably going to hand that off one way or another because he's, angle-wise, he's coming from a spot where he's probably going to end up getting the quarterback. But if this quarterback can really run, if he's a Jalen Hurts type or something, that's first down. The quarterback's going to pull that, and that's first down. This should have been a first down. This is a nice route. All this is stick in from Harrison, dealing with their match principles. They know he's going to sit, and then that's really hard to cover. And then if he catches that could turn into a bigger play. 3rd and 1. And this is where you can see, Stanford Samuels has really done a pretty good job as a chaser all year, getting the guy's legs on the backside. That's pretty good. Once again, all those guys up front and forcing you to do all this stuff out here. Not bad, though, by the defense matching up. You see the sprint out here. Got a little block there. It's really a block rather than a rub, and still getting out to that. That's pretty good. So this is a tough throw. If he hits it, you got a big play, but overall pretty good. And here you got Jordan Travis in, and here's something they'd worked on all the way back to camp. This is actually triple option, where you have essentially an invert. So it's invert veer, where he's the inside run. And then the triple part, the pitch option is out here, and they're going to stay in pitch relationship the whole way. And since he was a quarterback, he can actually do this. And gets that out. You'll see this again, I'm sure, at some point. But that's where Travis gives you the chance to run some of that inverted veer and all that, because you feel like he can actually run it in between the tackles. This is where Akers is special. It's not even the same replay of the same play, but we'll go ahead and look at it. So here, this is once more one of those things that Briles does a lot, is he's going to give you a lot of trouble with those H-backs because they do a lot. They'll insert in any spot to lead block, and then every so often they'll slip you. And nice throw by Blackman. Big conversion there by McDonald. McDonald's going to be a really good player next year. He got this first down, by the way. He extended that ball. Not like it matters because Akers still got it. And this is pretty decent from the offensive line. You got power blocking up front, essentially, here, where you've got a double team working your way up. This is really zone. Yeah, this is split zone, but you've got a double team here working your way up to the backer, and what really matters is getting vertical displacement on this guy. They're able to get it. Nice job by McDonald comboing up to the backer. Akers running hard. Nice play. And then Akers, once again, he's a pretty good player. 2nd and goal here after a loss. And here you have, let's see, that's Dart. Pulling the tackle around here. And they happen to be stunting just a little bit with their interior, so that makes it easy. All Minshew has to do is push him, work your way forward. That's not Minshew, that's Scott. That's the other guy wearing the big cowboy collar under there. A nice job by Akers recognizing. Again, this is something we've talked about, that the Brile system, you're going to run a lot in that A gap. Akers recognizes how to hit that. His footwork has improved there to be able to get there quickly. It's pretty good here from Baselli. Even better here from this right here is what allows this play to happen, where you see Brady Scott get up in there. That's not bad. And this is one of the other things I like to see. That's nice little get after it from the freshman, and good movement from the other freshmen. So there's a chance here that those guys could be good players. Nice job. That's good. That's good running the football from a really good back. Not going to spend any time on it, but once again, 9 guys in a different look, and it's so hard to know where your gap is. They forced a fumble here, and as is pretty much always the case, Boston College got on it. Nasir al-Din deserves a lot of credit, and maybe a cold tub for 22 tackles in this game, because he handled his business from the secondary. Not good when your safety's getting 22 tackles against a running offense, though. This was a little lucky here. I don't think he was actually throwing to this guy. I don't know whether he was or not, but what you've got here, you've got mesh with a little curl behind it and a wheel. They do a good job of picking up the wheel, but you've got to match to here. He's expecting somebody. I don't know what he's expecting on this side, but he's got to match to the guy that's in front of it, or that's to his side. He matched to the wrong side. He's expecting him, I guess, to come to the other side, but he settled instead. Bad drop right there. Leads to a field goal instead of a touchdown. Key play for Florida State. And then once again, you've got the same basic play here. I love this stuff where this is just a levels call. It's a version of levels where you're going to run a little option route with the tight end, and then you've got a little shallow and a outside flare route, little flat route from the running back. And by getting that back out there, you can see that this is man. As soon as he vacates, if it's man, then this serves as a pick. It's easy to get your best receiver the ball in space. And then if this is zone and he sits, one of these guys is going to have to go to the flat. If he goes to the flat, then you throw your levels concept right here in the one-on-one. If he goes to the flat, then you might have the levels, or you might have the, or if he goes to the flat, then you should have the back out there. Pretty simple concept. Lots of just getting guys the ball in space with the chance to run in this game. Once again, just a little sneak out screen from the backside. I like this quarterback's motion. It's pretty easy motion here. Better thrower than a lot of the guys that Boston College has had lately. And this one, let's see. Yep, that's a good call. And once again, 9 guys on the line of scrimmage, finding a way to create a gap. One of these guys has to fill, and they've got to fill faster. There are just too many guys on the line of scrimmage, and there's interior holes that are not interior gaps that are not taken care of. It's a great tackle. That's a really good throw right here. So they're in a robber look. Backer's got to get out and underneath that right here. He's got to get depth. What is that? Is this a 3? I wish I could see the secondary there. I think that's a cover 3 look, but Backer's got to get up underneath that either way. And this just exposes how slow Florida State is at backer right now. This quarterback just runs away from 56 and 35 here. That should not be happening with Florida State personnel, but they're just, this is something where they've not gotten faster. They've gotten slower since they got on campus, and you got to do better there. That one didn't feel real good for Becker. Got the wind knocked out of him pretty good there. Maybe a little bit ahead. Got to like 29 back there. And then you notice they're returning kicks now in this game. And this is just a guy being a little bit better athlete than others. And they're blitzing. Good job on the cut blocks here. And this gets back to something that, okay, so we've seen a lot of this kind of thing from the Miami game. Like you'll see a freeze frame that's grabbed from like right here, where it's like, oh my gosh, all of these guys are on the ground and the defensive line is past them. Well, yeah, that's the design. But he's got to be getting rid of the football no matter what. And in this case, he's got a guy open. But if he doesn't, if you've got a guy standing here and that's where he's going to go, what do? You throw it at his feet because you know that you can't hold on to the ball and pump and go somewhere else. You got to go where you're going and get it out. Well, in this case, you got somebody open. He breaks a tackle, and well, he's a pretty rare athlete. Launch, and that's a touchdown. That's not many athletes out there like that one. Some guys are built. Some guys are born with this, and this guy's one of them. He's a special athlete, no question. So you mean in the compressed game, they're going to show all these replays, but they're not going to show certain plays like the fumble that they didn't recover. More pivotal plays. Drives me crazy. So once again, screen on first down. And once again, you've got guys with a chance to make the tackle, but that's just really poor. That's going to have to be a point of emphasis, teaching guys to properly tackle in space for the next guy. And then that's really close to a interception. Good play here. Let's take a look at what happened. So this is a very similar throw to what we saw before. Same coverage, and the backer gets the depth and gets underneath it and gets his hands on it. Nice job. He got beat on that earlier. Actually got up underneath it, so you got to give Warner some credit there. I think you were going back to the same well there, and Warner got in the way again. And that allowed for the interception. Nice job by Nice job by Stanford Samuels actually catching it when it came straight to him, which is something that defensive backs have not done all year. It's actually not that easy of a catch either. Guy's played better than people have given him credit for this year. And that's Jordan Travis wrapping up the game here. And you can see once again, I mean, just because he's in there doesn't mean it's going to be an automatic, great read or great run. This is one where I'd like to see him actually give this. You've got shoulders coming sort of to you. He's or maybe ride this a little longer. Do it a little bit closer to how Wake Forest does it. Ride that out one more step and force him to make the call. And then if he comes at you, then you hand it off. If he doesn't, you've got a little more width to run your inverted veer. Instead, he holds it and not quite enough ride with it on the way down the line to create the space that you want there. But this one's pretty good. And this one is the RPO that they've run, where you've got that's designed to actually be a throw here. This is the same thing that Tamorian Terry, they motioned in and did this same concept with him against Boise State. That's what he scored on down the sideline. This is an RPO. You're box reading this based on what you see in terms of your edge guy here. And if this edge guy comes down the line, then you keep it as a quarterback, and then you've got your throw option out here to the flat, and those guys are going to block or get out of there. See, he's just trying to bring his guy inside and then turn and block him. But they grab him here. That is a hold for sure, but that's what you're supposed to do. And Travis just adjusts, and he runs better than Florida State's quarterbacks, the other ones. That kid can run. You'll take that. And that ball game's over. Now, all things being equal, this is where Jimbo Fisher and some of the other coaches that emphasize little things are going to chew this guy out when he gets to the sideline, because he should be sliding down right now. Slide down, you kneel 3 times, game's over. Instead, you score, and they still have a 0.001 chance of winning. If you drop and you don't score the touchdown, then you've ended any chance of winning, essentially. Let's look at this from back. You're just reading this guy, and if this guy comes inside, then you run the RPO. Well, as soon as they grab your throw option, well, fine. I'll go ahead and take the lane you're giving me. And he's moving pretty well for Terry not to be catching up with him a bunch here. Watch this. Even though Terry's starting from behind, Terry's not making up a bunch of ground, nor is, watch Harrison. Harrison ain't slow either, and those guys could have theoretically have run him down. I mean, that's something, they would have run, say, maybe LeBourne down a little easier, but this guy can really run. But he's been on the sideline. So now you go to prevent, and you force him to try to take as much time as possible to throw the ball downfield. Once again, if he's a couple inches taller, then that's nothing, but, well, great throw. And he was out of bounds, so, that's illegal touching. Loss of down. This quarterback really throws a good ball. And we can't see anything downfield, so that's useless. Show the safeties. And then that's a dime. There's just 4 verts here. And you've got to read 2 to 3, and you can't just backpedal there. You've got to carry the vertical. Carry the vertical. Get your hands on him. Turn and carry the vertical. Because that's the seam they're trying to hit. That's on the slot corner. You've got to make sure that they can't hit that ball. really poor play by the secondary down the stretch there on that last drive, but doesn't really matter because, well, not enough time to win it. Florida State now 3-0 Dell and have a chance to go bowling. And it's a big deal for Florida State to get those extra 15 practices for the development of the young guys. And also once they make their hire, that also, if the hire gets brought in early, as they would hope, the hire gets a chance to evaluate the personnel early on as well and gets, some practices to look at that as well. So that's a big deal. All right, well, that's going to do it for us here on the Patreon Unconquered X's and O's broadcast. As always, thanks to those of you who are sponsors and are watching this. I'm your host, Jason Staples. Thanks for listening and watching and all the support and everything else.